Okay, in this video I'm just going to quickly show you how you can use a Casio fx-9860 to calculate the mean point very quickly. So obviously calculating the mean is not a difficult thing to do anyway, but it could be a bit time consuming. And if you've got to add up 13 numbers and divide by 13 and then add up another 13 numbers and then divide by 13, which you would have to do here to find the mean of this list and the mean of this list separately, it's going to take a while. And it's not even just that, it's just the actual probability of you making a mistake is probably quite high. So let's read the question. Say a class of 13 students was asked to record their times preparing for a test. The table below gives their recorded preparation times and the scores that they achieved for the test. So here you go. Minutes spent preparing for the test, so 75 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 and so on. And the score they actually got in the test, which is probably a percentage, but you're probably not actually looking at that, but it's test score. So first question, which of these two variables is the independent variable? So in a scatter graph, which this would lead to be into a scatter graph question, we're looking for an association between two variables. You have an independent variable and a dependent variable. So if you just think about it logically, is the test score dependent on the minutes spent preparing for the test, or is the minutes spent, or are the minutes spent preparing for the test dependent on the score? So it doesn't really make sense, the second one, surely. Well, you would hope that the more time you spend preparing, as long as you prepare properly, that should make your test score better, you would hope, certainly in most cases. So that would mean that the independent variable is the minutes, so that would need to be the x variable. So part A, minutes spent preparing, is the independent variable. Okay, so that's just because test score is dependent upon minutes and not the other way around. Part B, we've been asked to find the mean x and mean y. So mean x, mean y. So we're going to do this using a calculator, and we're going to go to stat mode. So menu and stat, which is the second one. So what we need to do, those two rows of data, we're going to transfer that into list 1 and list 2. So it's a bit tedious, but we're going to put them all in. So 75, 30, 35, 65, 110, 60, 40, 80, 56, 70, 50, 110, and 18. Okay, so useful checkmate. The fact that it's up to 13 is good because it does say there's 13 students, so just a little check. Doesn't mean that I didn't make a mistake, but at least it means I know I didn't put one number too little or one number too many. So now we go back to list 2. 25, 31, 30, 31, 30, 38, 55, 20, 20, 39, 47, 35, 45, 32, 33, and 34. So it's not the most exciting thing in the world to do, but it needs doing, unfortunately. So then we're going to go to calc, so F2, and if you are dealing with a scatter graph, this is two vars, so two variable statistics. If a question ever has, this doesn't actually specifically let me mention scatter graphs, mainly because I've cut some of the question out, but in an exam, they're quite large questions, and it's always going to either show you a scattergraph or ask you to do a scattergraph. Generally speaking, it will be a half completed one. You have to finish it. So it's two variables. You're looking to see an association between two variables. So we press F2 for 2var, and you can see mean x is right there. So three significant figures, 61.5. And then if we go down a bit, we should be able to see mean y as well. You can see y with the little bar on. So that is 35.69 must be 35.7 to three significant figures. So the mean student spent 61.5 minutes preparing and got 31.57 marks on the test.